This is the Sergio Rodriguez Show.
Welcome back to the Sergio Rodriguez Show. Joining me right now are my guys Mike Vasquez, Brendan Cannon, and Connor Pickell. Right?
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Friday Night PreGame. Talk to me about the concept. Who came up with it? Where did it get started?
Well, it started a couple years ago. We were standing around before we went out one Friday night, pre-gaming, and we just always talk about sports. So one day we were just kind of thinking like we should probably record this, and then we didn't for like another 3 years, and then we finally started to, and we've been going at it now for like a year and a half.
And you're the guy in the group that suffers a lot because you're a Red Sox fan? Is that the...
Hey, listen, I've had it pretty well the last couple of years as a Red Sox
I don't know about
fan.
the last couple.
I mean, 18.
Okay. Okay, all right.
13, 07, 04. I'm only 30, so I've only seen
That's
good
true. No, that's
I've
true.
only seen good things.
That's true. I'm 48. I've seen Buckner and, and that stuff. But yeah, it's all right. So it's just you three that do it every night? Do you guys have guests? How does the show work?
We bring on guests that we know for usually our whole life. Bring on different guys. If there's a big UFC fight, we'll bring on somebody who knows more about UFC. Soccer guys, we'll bring soccer guys on. Hockey guys, bring hockey guys on. Guys that know the sport.
Correct.
We're pretty well-rounded for all of it, but we'll bring on guys specifically for the sport that we're talking about that episode.
What's the topic that normally gets everybody going?
Football.
Football?
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, let's go there. I see you have a Steelers shirt on, or a hoodie, right? Who do you guys like?
I'm a Giants fan.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm a Dolphins fan.
You've suffered a lot, too.
I know.
I got a buddy of mine named Sergio Souza who still wears a Dan Marino jersey. Like, that was the last time the Dolphins were relevant, bro.
Yeah. Hey, I mean they were good this year.
I said relevant.
They were relevant for the first.
Stop.
Were relevant the first 7 weeks this year.
Got to remember the good times.
So, locally, talk to me about the Jets. What going on with Aaron Rodgers here? Do you think that that's going to transform that organization? Where do you see the Jets going the day that Aaron Rodgers, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. When it happens, where do you see the Jets going, not only within the division, but in the NFL landscape?
Well, here's the thing. Will it happen? Do you honestly, do you think it's a 100%? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a 100% foregone conclusion that he's going to go there?
1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, because the most recent reports are that they haven't spoken at all in the past week and a half because the Packers are unwilling to budge on wanting a first-round pick.
The Packers can't trade him any other place because he's already come out and said he wants to play for the Jets. So here's what that's caused. No one else is going to offer you dollar for dollar. So unless you're willing to trade him somewhere for 50 cents on the dollar, your best trade is always going to be to the Jets.
No,
I'm trying to pass off.
You're right. You're right. But here's the thing. The Jets' biggest problem has always been that they're just systemically a bad team, and it's from the top down. The whole organization is poorly run. So, okay, say they do bring him in, right? Will it fix things? I mean, you would think so. Would improve the play on the field. They were a good team with no quarterback last year. So you bring in a 39-year-old former MVP. They would be better. Yes, they'd be a playoff team. Would they win the division? I don't know. The Bills are really good still. But you would think the Bills' window is closing. The Dolphins are a good team if Tua can stay healthy. And, I mean, as much as the Patriots on paper right now, you don't know who 90% of the people on that team are, Bill Belichick's still there.
Mike, what do you think?
So it feels like the Packers are kind of holding at ransom right now with the first-round pick, and they're not budging on that. So the Jets are going to have to give up a lot, and they don't really want to mortgage their future too far out because realistically you're only going to have Rodgers for 2 or 3 years before they have to look to move on. So they have a nice young core with like Garrett Wilson and the running back who got hurt last year.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. So they have pieces in the future. It's just they don't want to mortgage too much of their future just to get Rodgers as a stopgap for a few years because they have, the 14th in the first round? 13th overall for first round. So they don't want to budge on that. They don't want to give that up. They want to make something happen without that, and the Packers aren't budging.
So I think that the biggest mistake that these GMs make is that in football, you can never worry about next year because the dynamics of the game change so much on one injury. And the league will go from being good to terrible like that. Just take a look at the NFC East. Before last year started.
Least.
Exactly.
Now they're the beast.
Exactly, right?
You're also talking about an entire division who had 4 of the softest schedules.
True.
Going into the bye
And
week.
you want me to add to that? And a conference where they have no quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Okay. But the point is, whether the teams were good or not, the fortunes of the organization still ended up being 3 of them made the playoffs. So therefore, in football, if you're the Jets, what are you concerned about 2 years from now, 3 years from now? The Rams mortgaged 10 years of their future and got the Super Bowl they wanted. So you know what? Go for it. Now, here's the problem the Jets run into. The AFC is a monster offensively. Why? Because every top quarterback is in the AFC. So you can do everything right and not even make the playoffs in the AFC. Talk to me, Brendan.
I agree. AFC is definitely the powerhouse in the NFL. You're right. The NFC, what do you have? You have Aaron Rodgers. If he comes to the AFC, which I think the Jets were actually a quarterback away from being a real contender in the playoffs last year. They had a great defense. They're again, young team. They were a quarterback away. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is – I mean, he had an off season last year with a broken thumb and still put up better numbers than more than half of the quarterbacks in the NFC last year. I mean –
well, the guy in New York just got $35 million.
Yeah.
And I've seen high school quarterbacks throw for more touchdown passes in 9 games. Speak to me about Daniel Jones, because the Giants were almost forced to give this guy all this money.
We like to call him Vanilla Vic.
Okay. All right. Well,
We call him a lot worse, actually.
okay. So
He's all
There's
Russian.
children
He's
here.
all Russian, young.
correct. So here's my thing. Everyone talks about how the Giants are a receiver away, this, and here's been my take on this the entire time with that. When you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, he's done one great thing. He's followed the script that the coaches set for him. Now, in order to take away the turnovers, they're making him play on a third of the field. So he's got 2 reads. I'm throwing it, and if it's not there, I'm running it. If you make him a drop back passer because you actually get receivers that actually are going to want the ball, it's going to change the whole offense, and he's not going to be as effective for them. You know, it would have been the best example I can give. You guys are a lot younger than me, but in the 80s, Nebraska ran an offense which basically had to have a particular set of skills from the quarterback position. All wishbone stuff, running, option, etc. Every pass was a waggle. If you took Vinny Testaverde in that era from Miami, who was arguably the best quarterback in college, and put him at Nebraska, they win 5 games. Even though Vinny Testaverde ended up being a legit pro, because it just wouldn't.
Not his system.
It's not the system. It's not going to play. Do you think that the Giants are going to be better, worse, or should they have just moved on from Daniel Jones?
Well, I mean, if they move on from Daniel Jones, where do you go? And the contract's not that terrible. Like, from a financial standpoint, we've talked about this at length. 2 years from now, that contract is going to be on the smaller side of what the top quarterbacks are getting. So it's better that you did it now. But to what I originally said, who else is out there? Mike, to you, I mean, you're the Giants fan. Who realistically else would be out there?
I mean, unless they're going to go through the draft, any other big free agency is going to blow his contract out of the water. Because you have like Lamar Jackson, he's gonna get his money. Joe Burrow still needs to get re-signed as well. So
And Lamar Jackson's the same quarterback. I mean, listen, as good, he won an MVP, and we get it. But let's be honest, he won an MVP compiling rushing yards.
yeah,
Right? So you're basically in the same boat. There's a reason why the Ravens haven't won, even though they're in the playoffs every year, because as soon as they play good teams, what happens? As soon as they play good teams, you get into a situation where he can't bring them back because you got to throw the ball from the pocket. And so,
He's never done anything against Steelers. They got him wrapped up. That's what I'm saying. You game plan against one single guy, you take him out of the game.
I mean, look at the Ravens when they played the Dolphins this year. They were up by, they were up by 35 at half and ended up losing, which, I mean, partly is because the Dolphins' offense is as explosive as it is. But I feel like the Ravens have this problem that they know that Lamar can do.
he's a great football player. The problem is he's a great football player.
They know that they have a great
Ravens-
athlete
Correct.
at quarterback, and they take their foot off the gas sometimes because they're like, "Nah, Lamar's got this," and then they put him in a position to not do what he's best at.
Yeah,
and
I think they really do try to make Lamar into a throwing quarterback when he's not. He's a running quarterback. Let him play his game. Let him be good at what he does. He got an MVP playing that way.
The problem is
Let
in
him play
this
that way.
league, they can scheme that up. And as soon as you play another team that has a decent quarterback and can go up 7-0, 10-3,
Yep.
the game's going to have to be played in the pocket. No matter how much this game changes, at the end of the day, it's got to be played from the pocket. And he's a guy,
in the big moments, yes.
yeah, and he's a guy that's always going to leave you a minute late and $1 short at that position. Transition me over to baseball here. You guys, Yankee fans, Met fans, what are you guys? Mets? Okay, let's start with you. Were you one of these guys that was ready to jump out a window when Edwin Diaz got hurt?
I'm going to tell you this right now. The World Baseball Classic could have been a golf tournament across the country.
It's garbage.
across
Nobody
the
watches
world.
that. I said on my show the other day, the only people who care are the Dominicans and the Japanese. That's it. And I'll tell you what. And I mean the Dominicans in Dominican Republic, because the ones in Washington Heights aren't watching because there was only 900,000 people watching the damn thing on TV.
We had a discussion about it. I think the Edwin Diaz injury brought tons of more viewers to the people aren't talking about this. The injury is what got people talking about this because now it's like, whoa, big guy, big names, big contracts, they're getting hurt. What's going on? What's
Altuve
this
ended up
tournament?
getting hurt.
What's this tournament everyone's talking
There's a
about?
Puerto
Haven't even
Rican.
heard of it.
Listen, there's a Puerto Rican right now watching this show right here live. Right? See that guy with the gray hoodie? Who made me put on the game. And when Venezuela scored 4 runs in the first inning, he started watching something else. Nobody cares about that stuff. Nobody cares about it.
It's an
It's a
exhibition
glorified.
tournament.
And the only reason half the people even watch that is because they've gone 5 months without watching baseball. So
Exactly.
it's something to watch.
It's
But
like it's NFL preseason right when it comes on. It's garbage football. There's guys you don't even know playing. But at least these are names. But
They're
nobody watches.
recognizable names, but not the best. And here's the problem with that. If you're a fan of the USA and you really care, how are you going to sit there and watch Lance Lynn pitching and Scherzer's at home?
Yeah.
How are you going to sit there and watch Wainwright pitching and Garrett Cole's at home?
The
Like,
top
stop.
10 pitchers in the league weren't there. Why?
Nobody
Well,
cares.
you saw why.
Yeah,
Because
nobody
they don't
cares.
want to end up like Edwin Diaz.
How, do you think that this hurts the Mets? Because I don't see, whenever it comes to relievers, outside of Mariano Rivera in the last 30 years, I can give you guys, I'll tell you what, all you guys were born after 84, right? Okay. In 1984, there was a reliever named Willie Hernandez. You guys have never heard of him, right? Exactly. Okay. Willie Hernandez won an MVP as a reliever in 1984. You've never heard of him.
No.
Exactly my point. So therefore, my point is that regardless of what you might think Edwin Diaz would have contributed to this team, you really don't know because that's the history of relievers in Major League Baseball.
Well, yeah, I mean, Edwin Diaz is a perfect example of that anyway, because Edwin Diaz, 2 or 3 years ago, when he first went to the Mets, looked like it was a horrible acquisition because he wasn't very good. And then he was great last year, So I mean, which version of them were you going to get this year?
Yeah, that's the problem. But they're all,
Yeah,
and here's like this, and I'm not picking on Edwin Diaz. They are all that same way.
Yeah, remember?
Everyone.
Craig Kimbrell was the talk of the town when his contract came up in Boston. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to go? Where is he going to go? He sucks now.
It's all the
he
same.
stinks.
It's all the same thing. But you could go down the list. Every guy. That's what I'm saying. So
That's how you end up a reliever.
if I were a Met fan, listen, would you have liked to see him play? Obviously,
yes.
right? But this belief that you lost 55 saves. I mean, there was another guy who came to the Mets after getting a lot of saves in Anaheim. You guys remember him?
Yes.
Okay. And how was he? You just never know what you're going to get with that.
The Mets got bad luck with closers.
I remember
coming to town.
Benitez.
Oh my God. K-Rod,
I remember.
Billy Wagner.
Billy Wagner.
Manny-
Put up like one of the first guys that put up 100 on the gun, and then he's just garbage.
Everybody,
Better on the Phillies.
it might be the uniform. That's what
might
it
be.
is. It might be the uniform. Where do you see the Mets going this year? That league's
World
tough.
Series.
No, come on. Come on.
It's hopeful. No, I mean, again.
Now listen,
that's
you'll
a
be
tough
healthier.
division.
You'll be healthier in the pitching department because DeGrom was like Haley's Comet, right? He threw
Yeah.
like once every 75 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But so you'll be better with Verlander because he's gonna be
Consistency.
consistent in terms of being there.
Yeah, I need
right?
you. I need you in the building. I need you on the mound if you're going to contribute.
100%. I think the Mets need a big bat. They still need a right-handed bat. They're going to have to make that move. And they're going to have to generate something outside of Lindor and Alonso.
Yeah.
Because last year, if those guys didn't hit, they just could not
exactly.
win. They just could not win.
Escobar was in a hell of a slump. He was in a slump until after the All-Star break, almost. I actually passed that. He got hurt. He worked his way back up through the AAA system, and he came back and started hitting. Marte, he's been a stud, but he also got hurt, so we got to see how he comes off the injury as well.
What's going on with the Yankees, man? I mean, you think Volpe should get the nod? Now, and before you answer that, do you think Volpe should get the nod because you're a fan that just wants to see something different and you don't want to see Kiner Falefa? Or do you think he's ready to make an impact?
I mean, in everything that you're reading about him is that he's the real deal. Like, this kid's going to be the future, and he can definitely, like, even his teammates are saying that, like, this guy's going to do great things. So I'm ready to see him and come up and play.
Well, I mean, the IKF experiment last year, I mean, you could say was a failure.
No,
Like,
you could say it, I could say it, everybody could say it.
no, because it was.
He's
It-
terrible.
Yeah. I mean,
And people try to justify it with on-base percentage.
I
Stop.
think he's
Listen.
batting 240 in spring training against guys that have side jobs.
Okay, but to be fair, batting 240 now keeps you in the big leagues.
Yeah, analytically, 240 is great if you can steal 30 bases.
Correct.
But that's the other thing for Volpe, too, is Volpe's going to steal you a bunch of bases. I mean, I think Peraz is out of the conversation right now. I think he's batting like 180 in spring training. So that's a non-starter. It's whether or not, you mentioned in the open, it's whether or not the Yankees want to suck it up and make the move and stop hoarding talent in the farm system and just let them go to the majors and see what they can be and who they are and who they're going to. That's a major
Yankees
Yankees
are always
thing.
talking about how good their farm system is. It's the best farm system. They invested a lot in the farm system. Yeah, but they're staying on the farm. Go out and get a blue ribbon with your prize pig from the farm. What are you doing? Put them out there.
Something they lose more of Florial. I can give you a list of guys in the last 5 years alone who they have not brought up and just let him play, or B, have sold us a bag of goods telling us they're going to be great and hasn't worked out. Guys, man, this was fun, man.
This
you
was a
guys,
blast, yeah.
now I got to come on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll have you in the
Come to
basement.
Connor's basement.
Come to my basement.
Wait. Where do you guys
We do
record?
our show out of my basement.
Where's your basement? What town?
It's underground.
It's underground.
Where?
Nutley.
Nutley?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go into Nutley. I'm an Essex County guy.
All right.
I worry about going to places in Hudson County. But
So
in
do I.
Essex,
That's why I got
everybody-
out.
Yeah, everybody knows me in Essex, so I'm good there.
Our show's more explicit, so bring your bring your cursing boots.
Oh, no, I can curse with the best of them. I'm a coach. I'm good. Don't worry about that.
But
These, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a blast, and we'd love to have you.
No doubt. Friday night pregame. Tune in. Where can they listen to the show?
Spotify, Apple, and Audible.
I believe so, yeah.
We record on Fridays generally, and we're usually posted by Monday for your drive to work. So
And it's just like that, Friday Night PreGame.
Friday Night PreGame podcast, yeah.
It's us boozing
Okay,
on.
Jess, you should
Twitter.
find it easier as a former college student. You pre-gamed a lot.
And I don't know what our social media tags are. Do you know them? I read them before every episode. I
yeah.
don't know them off the top.
At
Thank
the
my
Friday
wife.
Night PreGame. That's very easy. Bro, you didn't even know that?
Nope. I have it. I have to copy and paste it in my notes every week.
We're going to take a break, but when
I'm
we
an
come
idiot.
back, the associate AD at St. John's University, big week this week. Rick Pitino is in the house with St. John's now. We're going to have Dave Mazur joining us on the Sergio Rodriguez Show.
This is the Sergio Rodriguez Show.